evening. You're watching Market Fatafat on India's #1 English business news channel. That's right. ET now has once again emerged as #1 in India, 44% share. So once again, thank you viewers for placing your faith in ET now. Let's talk about individual movers and shakers. That's what we do right here on Market Fatafat. For now, markets, nice rebound seen over there. Sensex high 135 points, Nifty bouncing back 28 points. Broader markets, however, are a bit tempered, though those as well are off the day's low. But to flag off these individual movers and shakers and what's keeping the market busy, we have with us Soumya Sharma as well as Kunal Bothra on the technicals, and Swati Hotkar from Nirmal Bang too joins in today on the technicals. Thank you to all of you for joining in. And let's start off first with the biggest losers today in trade, and that is the likes of TCS, Infosys, HCL Tech Mahindra, where losses continue from yesterday, as you can see on your screens. This is after Cognizant has cut its calendar year 2019 revenue guidance from 7 to 9% to 3.6 to 5.1% in CEC terms. This after the first quarter numbers were very disappointing. Morgan Stanley has come out with a note as well on the back of that, saying that this is something that will hurt Indian IT stocks, and that's evidenced in the move seen today as well. Additionally, they also say that they did hear similar BFSI commentary from Infosys and TCS as well, and hence all the stocks are declining in trade. Well, that brings me to then the Nifty IT as well. It's important to address the technicals of that and Swati's recommendation. Unfortunately, we're not being able to connect with her, but I'll just read out Swati's view. She has a positive stance as she believes that in the current trading session, profit booking is being witnessed. She does believe that the Nifty IT may touch 15,800 if the key support of 16,100 breaks. So that's a view on the Nifty IT as well, which is declining for the second straight day. Kunal, let's talk about Kotak Bank, which is perched at a neat multi-year high.
Absolutely, Mubina. The stock at a multi-year high, stable charts. Nothing to complain in terms of if you're a long trader or have long positions into Kotak Bank. Looking at the way the prices have moved in the last couple of weeks. In fact, even in a volatile market, I think the stock has been moving with a stable price uptrend. So I think that indicates that the stock is into a very strong footing. And even from short-term basis, I believe the stock could move up higher from current level. So I could place a target, close to 1475, 1480 for Kotak Bank, and there should be another upside of 40-50 rupees from current levels as well.
Right. Let's talk about the next stock then in HDFC Life. Soumya, what's the news?
Well, Standard Life's offer for sale of 1.78% of this stake will be beginning today and of course for the next week also. Well, Standard Life is proposing to sell close to about 3.6 crore shares for an approximate value of 1400 crore rupees. In fact, the offer for sale floor price has been set at 390 per share, and the stock is under pressure on back of this news flow, on back of this offer for sale.
Yeah, 1.5% gone, though this one too is off the day's low. Tata Motors, meantime, and this is one auto company that's actually been able to go in the green. April domestic sales have been hit because of the ongoing elections, as has been cited by Tata Motors. They've also flagged off weak exports because of the Sri Lanka crisis, and Bangladesh inventories have built up significantly. But yeah, it's been quite a drop in the domestic PV as well as CV sales. However, the total JLR US sales continue to go higher, and for the month of April as well, it was a neat 10% uptick. So you are seeing the stock price as well gain. In fact, it's one of the top Nifty gainers as well today in trade, so snapping that 7-day losing streak. Kunal, what are you witnessing in an L&T Finance and the move we are seeing today?
So a lot of the similar space stocks, NBFC stroke HFCs, they have seen a sharp correction. For L&T Finance, if I'm not wrong, this is the 4th or the 5th straight week where you're seeing the prices correcting. It's come back to a very strong, I would say price level. There's a triangular pattern, getting formed on the bearish side for L&T Finance, and the stock is just about on, touching distance of breaking that key support. So I think if the stock breaks this 122 to 125 support band, it could be a very sharp downtick for the stock price, and the pain could not be over what we've seen the last 4-5 weeks. So one has to be a bit cautious and watch out for these key support zones of 122 to 125 on L&T Finance.
All right, so 2.6% lower for L&T Finance. Swati, Bharti Infratel has been seeing gains for some time now. Today as well, it's among the top Nifty gainers. What's your view here? Swati, your view on Bharti Infratel?
Rubina, the overall view on the Bharti Infratel has been the cautious at the current level. From the last 1 week, we have seen that we have seen a very selling pressure on this particular counter from 330 levels to 250, 260 levels. I believe that this selling pressure is likely to be extended and which might take a stocks back towards 250, 260 odd levels. As of now, we are witnessing that pullback has been seen into this particular counters from the 250 to 55 odd levels. Pullback is likely to be carried forward towards 300 to 320 levels. So as of now, the current view on the Bharti Infratel has been the cautious. Those who are having any long positions, they can definitely hold on with the strict stop loss of a 260 levels on the lower side.
Alright, so that's the word on a Bharti Infratel. Soumya, ever ready, finally snapping those many days of gains?
Well,
losses, pardon me.
Yes, in fact, so there's some buying momentum in the stock with India Opportunities Growth Fund buying close to about 6 lakh shares at a price of 107.5 per share. Snapping 4 days of losses, the stock although is off from the day's high, but it's still trading in green and has managed to gain close to about 2.7% right now in trade today.
Okay, so that's Everready, 2.7% higher. OMCs, meantime, important to talk about those because crude prices are cracking, and how after that 3% drop that we have witnessed overnight in Brent and WTI. Brent, in fact, is now sub even $71 per barrel, and WTI is at about 64, if I'm not mistaken. You are seeing further decline come by in crude prices. So yeah, slumping to the lowest level in 1 month on the back of the rising production from the United States as well as the inflated inventories. We are seeing OMCs, not all of them mind you, but some of them, for example BPCL today is being able to outperform, as is an HPCL. It's only IOC that's really bucking the trend over there. Even ONGC for that matter, despite the fact that it's an upstream company, is one of the big gainers today in trade. Kunal, BOB, what's your view here? Today PSU banks in fact are being able to post a good rally. BOB is one of them.
So yes, Movina, and in terms of chart patterns, you might say that yes, the stock is still in a downward drift. It's trying to go through a process of mean reversion. But the key, I think, from a short-term basis lies in what the indicators have been shaping. On the hourly charts, there is a double bottom pattern on the indicators. And I'm talking of RSI on the hourly charts. And generally, when you see such kind of patterns, if RSI leads to a breakout, that breakout is very strong and sustainable for a stock price. The breakout in terms of stock price would come closer to 120 levels for Bank of Baroda. So it's very close to those kind of breakouts in price. RSI is also confirming those kind of breakouts. I would suggest a buy on BOB above 120 for a target of 126 at least in the very near term.
Alright, that's BOB for you, 2.7% higher. Soumya, how are the numbers for an Orient's paper stocks in general? Paper companies have been reporting a good set of numbers.
Talking particularly about Orient Papers, the company displayed strong set of numbers. The revenue from operations was up by 9%. The PAT in fact surged by over 105% to close to about 32.4 crore rupees. Even on the operating performance, the EBITDA was up by 8%. However, the margins are flat but stable at around 18.8%. And the stock, although off from the day's high, it's still trading in green and is up by over 3.4%.
Alright, so that's Orient Paper, 3.4% higher. Swati, Vodafone Idea once again gaining, continuing the gains. But mind you, as we speak, in fact, it's given up all those gains and now is in the red.
Mupina, if we check on the longer due terms as such, the overall view has been remain a bearish to the cautious. From the 2018 itself, we have seen that the stock is continuously making a new lows. Also, the fact that it is just trading in the lower channel formations. Daily, it's on every week we have seen a new low on this particular counter. As of now, the selling pressure has been continuously. We are not getting a roundup or say the bottom fishing up pattern as such on the technical front. So there is no sign of a reversal from the years, but on the downside 15 or 14 rupees will act as a crucial support level on this particular counter, and on a higher levels 20 will be act as a resistance levels. If it manages to give a breakout of 20 levels, then only we can see some fresh buying position might be built up into this particular stocks, and which might take a stock towards 25 to 30 levels. At the current level, I will not suggest any buy call or the sell call on this particular stock, but definitely those who are having a long positions, they can hold on with the strict stop loss of a 15 rupees on a downside.
Okay, so that's a view on Vodafone Idea, completely given up all those gains. L&T Infotech has delivered its numbers. It's not been a great set. Yes, dollar revenue has gone up 2% sequentially. Rupee revenue has gone up 1%. EBIT has disappointed. It's declined 7%, which has caused the margins to compress to 17.7%. Profits have gone up 1%. Now, we do have Macquarie still being optimistic on L&T Infotech. They have an outperform rating, and this is because they believe that this decline in the numbers for L&T Infotech has been triggered because of the budget cuts by a key client of L&T Infotech, and that is the reason why revenues are marginally weaker. However, there is a positive as well in the numbers, and that is with respect to the strong deal wins with net new TCVs of $100 million. So that, according to them, is a positive. Hence, perhaps they have an outperform. Stock price, of course, is one of the big losers. Soumya, Laurus Labs as well did not post the best set of numbers for the fourth quarter.
Well, in fact, they posted mixed set of numbers. The PAT saw a degrowth of over 4.2% and stood at nearly about 43.2 crore rupees. Talking about the revenues, they were up by 13.4%. Well, the management says this growth in the revenue was driven by actually the growth in all the businesses and all the segments. As far as margins are concerned, they stood at 17.9% for Q4. Apart from this, the management said that the synthesis business has recorded robust growth, and they expect FDF plus synthesis business to drive the growth momentum going forward from here on. And they'll continue to invest in their R&D pipeline for all their key businesses. But stock somehow is down by over 1.2% since the street is not really happy with the set of numbers that the company reported.
All right, yeah, it's among the big losers today at just under 400 for a Laurus Labs. Moving on, Torrent Pharma, Verity now has managed to access that Form 483 that was issued by the US FDA post their inspection between 8th April to 16th April of the company's Indrad facility, and it shows that there are 4 observations in the Form 483. One of them being failure to thoroughly review any unexplained discrepancy, no written procedures for processes and controls, routine calibration of equipment is not being performed, and out-of-specification investigation for API products is deficient. Nomura, however, still has a buy, as they say that yes, US FDA inspections recall are areas of concern. If the inspection is classified as OAI, it could lead to delay in product approvals, and that is going to be a key risk. Nevertheless, they still have a buy, and that's perhaps what's supporting the stock price today in trade. Torrent Pharma now just more or less flattish after rebounding from the day's low. Quick break right here on the show, but do come right back. We're going to flag off the balance 15 stocks. Watching Market Fatafat right here on ET. Now let's continue with the countdown then. And Soumya, Tata Power, how were the numbers?
Pretty much Tata Power number were pretty much in line with what the entire street was estimating. The revenue was up by over 1.4% to nearly 7,320 crore rupees, while PAT saw a jump of PAT saw a degrowth of 92%. EBITDA was down by over 2%. Margins also contracted from 19% to 18.4%. As far as revenues are concerned, they were pretty much driven by renewable energy business, which expanded by over 34% on a sequential basis. In fact, talking about these results, Macquarie said that they're maintaining a neutral stance when it comes to Tata Power with a target price of 83 per share. Well, they also believe the number were in line with the street estimates, and the balance sheet improvements is underway for the company with non-core asset sales due, and implementation of HPC report on tariff increase on Mundra remains a key for the re-rating of the stock. The stock is gaining by over 1% on back of these results.
All right. Meantime, let's take a look at how the street is reacting to Blue Star's numbers, which did do very well. There was a top-line growth of approximately 18.5%. But what was particularly impressive is the way the company has able to deliver on the margin front. Do remember that because of the entire conundrum with respect to higher metal prices, these companies had been struggling when it comes to maintaining their margins. But this time around, there's been a margin expansion of to 6.9% from 4.5%, and that's led to a massive surge in profitability, more than 2.5 times rise from the corresponding quarter of just 32 crores to now almost 80 crore rupees. So that's Blue Star, near the day's high, more than 2% of gains. Kunal, let's talk about another stock that's perched at a multi-year high, HDFC Bank. Your view here?
So yes, Movina, HDFC Bank at a multi-year high. Stock patterns have been extremely strong, and also I think traditionally the stock has been a low beta kind of a trading stock. But on the short-term chart patterns, there was a bullish flag pattern formed. The stock broke out of that pattern, I think yesterday or day before, at the 23.35, 23.45 mark, and in post that it's just about gained steady traction. So I believe even at current levels of 23.70, you could see another 60 to 70 rupees jump from current levels. 24.40 is where I would place the targets on HDFC Bank, and I would suggest to buy, keeping the stop loss at 23.40.
All right, moving on to stock number 19 then. Soumya, how are the numbers for JM Financial? Because the stock price certainly is down in trade.
Not very encouraging. It was a mixed set of numbers. The net interest income grew by over 2.1% to 593 crore rupees. The PAT saw an increase of 2.8%. As far as the margins are concerned, they were at 6.5% compared to 5.6% last year. Even on a quarterly basis, the NIMs were higher. It was stood at 6.5 versus 5.7 on a sequential basis. The asset quality showed an improvement on a sequential basis. Both net NPA and gross NPAs were down, while the loan book saw a degrowth of 12.6% on a sequential basis. Well, that's what the key is. The loan book did not grow as far as JM Financial is concerned, and that's what's keeping the stock under pressure by over 1% today.
Okay, another stock that's under pressure is Godrej Consumer. Ahead of its numbers, it's falling. In fact, on a year-to-date basis as well, it's been almost a 20% crack. Swati, your view here?
The overall view has been negative on the Godrej consumer product. As of now, we are seeing that the technical setup indicates that the stock is again approaching toward its 52-week low, which comes to at around 635, 634 odd levels. I believe that the stock might likely to extend its fall towards the new 52 low, which will come to at around 620, 610 levels. We can be seen on the downside. The fact is that the stock is continuously trading below its all-time important moving averages, say the 100, 250 days moving average. Also the fact that it is just trading within the range, within the pattern of the lower tops, lower bottom. So though all these technical setups indicates a very cautious view on this particular counter. So one can take a sell positions at the current level. They can maintain the stop loss of a 655 rupees on the upside for an immediate target of a 620 to 610 levels on the downside.
All right, so that's Godrej Consumer today, 2% lower, and yes, we are watching out for the fourth quarter numbers. Kansai Nerolac, yesterday it came out with a disappointing set of numbers. There was a 4 to 5% of a fall, and today those losses seem to be extended. Kansai Nerolac is down once again 2.5%. Do remember that particularly on the margin front, the company had not been able to do very well, unsurprisingly because of the massive rise in crude prices, volatility witnessed over there, and its derivatives, of course, are a key raw material for the painting major. CLSA has a sell rating here with the target at 385 rupees, as not only is the concern on the margin front but also on the top line front, because they believe the volumes has declined due to the slowdown in the auto space, and even the decorative demand has been hit this time around, apart from the fact that margins were at a 16-quarter low. So key risks flagged off by CLSA. Kunal, another banking name on your list, DCB?
So yes, Movina, and this time around the chart patterns are a bit different. It's forming a flag pattern on the hourly charts. The stock has shown some good traction in the last few days. In fact, on one hand, when we are talking of many of the individual mid-cap names or many mid-cap names going through a phase of correction, contrary to the benchmark Nifty trend, DCB Bank is moving at a trend which is on the stronger upside. The stock is perched at very close to making a fresh 52-week high as well. So chart patterns are strong, and behavior of the stock also indicates that the breakout could sustain on the upside once again. So DCB Bank could be a good buy even at current levels.
Right, so it's a buy on DCB from Kunal. Soumya, what is the news for Greaves Cotton?
Well, after the company announced that they'll be buying back shares, they came out with the updates. They've approved buyback of over 1.37 crore of shares at the price of 175 per share. In fact, the entire total buyback size would not be exceeding 240 crore rupees, and that's what keeping the stock in pressure today. In fact, has snapped 2 days of gaining momentum and is trading in red, down by over 1.5%.
All right. Godrej Properties, meantime, and Swati, today realty seems to be once again bouncing back. We had news as well with respect to Godrej Properties. Your view here?
The overall long-term view has on the Godrej property is definitely positive, because we have seen the all-time highs at the 986 levels, and from where we are witnessing a profit bookings. Though we can't deny the profit bookings at the higher levels, and as of now the stock is well placed above its 50 days moving average, which comes to at around 810, 805 levels. I believe those who are looking for any fresh long positions, they can definitely take a buy call on every dips towards 810 levels. Maintain the stop loss of a 790. I believe that we might test first 50 days moving average, then we get some bounce back rally back towards to 840 to 850 level. So it's a buy call from my side on every dips towards 800 rupees. If stop loss can be maintained at 790 for immediate target of 850 to 840 levels on the upside.
All right. Well, another result reaction, and this time it's coming in the form of Bombay Dyeing. Remember, yesterday we had seen a very, very smart uptick come in, and today it seems to be continuing. 6% higher for Bombay Dyeing after the company has reported a top line figure which has jumped almost about 3.5 times to 2,786 crore rupees, and the company on the bottom line has managed to turn around, delivered a profit of about 1190 crore rupees versus a loss of 380 crore rupees. So you are seeing that smart reaction combine the stock price of Bombay Dyeing. Kunal, ITC is one of those few FMCG companies that's not falling. What's your recommendation here?
It's not falling, and also I think it's been showing signs of strength almost regularly in the last 3-4 months of this huge market rally. And carrying to the behavior earlier where the stock moved up contrarian to the market trend, index moved up higher, the stock moved up lower. Now you're seeing a difference of that kind of a stock price trend for ITC. Also on short-term charts, it's forming a triangular pattern. The stock is very close towards a breakout of this triangular pattern. That itself should lead to a very strong spike into the stock. I think the stock breaks out this 305 to 310 barrier. A 330 target could be very smooth and swift target for the stock price. I would recommend a buy post those levels, keeping a stop loss of 295.
All right, IDC is higher by 0.5%, and Kunal seems to be quite optimistic on this stock. Soumya, how are the numbers for National Fertilizers?
Well, strong set of numbers coming in from National Fertilizers. The revenue, the sales actually saw a jump of over 47%. On the bottom line front, they were up by, the profit was up by 20% to nearly 81 crore rupees. The operating performance showed an improvement of 65% to 238.4 crore rupees. Even the margins saw an improvement. They came in at about 7.7% versus 7% compared to last year. Although the stock actually isn't reacting much, and it's just flat today in trade.
All right, so that's of course the view coming in on a National Fertilizer, absolutely flat in trade. Okay, paper stocks meantime, and it's important to flag these off because for the last 2 to 3 quarters, paper stocks have certainly done very well. Okay, before we do that, let's go across to Swati for Britannia. Swati, again, like I was saying, FMCG has been on a weak spot. Britannia as well, after yesterday's fall, again continues to decline.
Technically, the Britannia has yesterday given the cluster supports breakdowns of a 2900 odd level, and today from the last 2 days we are continuously witnessing a huge selling pressures along with the volumes. I believe that this stock is likely to be continued its selling pressure towards 2650, 2500 odd level. So I will suggest to avoid the long positions at the current level. Once it manages to find out the supports at 2650 or say 2500 level, then one can definitely see towards the buying call. But at the current level, I will suggest to avoid the longs as well as the sell calls at the CMP.
Britannia down 1.6%. Now let's talk about paper stocks, which have for the last 2-3 quarters been showing a neat uptick in terms of their quarterly numbers. This time around as well has not been an exception. International APPM is going higher in trade. Okay, but we're out of time, so we'll have to wrap it up on this edition of Market Fatafat. Swati, thank you for joining in and sharing your technical strategies. Kunal and Soumya, to you as well. Coming up next is Markets at Noon.